You are listening to the Body Charge podcast, and I'm your host, Sandy Sanderson. Welcome to the Body Charge podcast. Today's topic is when the immune system malfunctions. Autoimmune diseases incorporate more than 80 related disorders that range from common to very rare and affect around 5% of people. They include diseases such as thyroiditis, rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, lupus, erythematosus, vasculitis, which is inflammation of the blood vessels, and even cancer. My special guest today is Shruti Sethi, an holistic nutritionist, cancer coach, energy psychologist, Ayurveda and Yoga expert, dedicated to helping busy professionals and cancer survivors thrive through diet and lifestyle. So welcome aboard. I'm so happy to have you on board, Shruti.
Thank you, Sandy. It's a pleasure to chat with you and be here.
Yes, it's all about sharing good information we've discovered, isn't it? It's the fun part.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so honored to be at every show because, through podcast, the message is delivered and it's like serious message, guys. Like we need to listen and
Yeah.
you guys are doing so amazing.
Yes, it's that personal touch, isn't it? From personal experience, and then we grow from there. We open more doors and learn more things, and the more we share with others, the more it enriches our own knowledge as well. So, my first question for you is, I'm interested to know about your own journey through cancer and recovery. How did that go for you?
Yeah, it was such a shocking incident in my life. I was 34 years and all of a sudden I get this diagnosis of cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's a lymphatic system cancer. And it is basically immune system cancer. And when you go through life and you think that you're healthy, going to the gym, looking good, that was health for me. I didn't know what are the other symptoms I was going through. And whenever any symptoms or any kind of other complications, all we do is just go to the doctor and they give you a pill, and that's it. We don't go into the depth of it, of why it is happening and what could I do otherwise. So that was pretty shocking because I had no history of cancer in my family, plus in my paternal and maternal side, and I thought I'm leading so-called a healthy life. So the question always, whenever you go through cancer, is why me? I was also going through a divorce that time, and life was like unbearable. I thought, my God, what does God want from me at this point of my life?
A
I'm
lot of
already
stress.
a lot of stress.
Yeah.
Yes, stress. I was mentally not prepared to face this because financially also I was going through a rough patch. Emotionally, I was going through a rough patch, and now then health. So everything came to a
Cascades.
standstill.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
cascades.
cascades, and I didn't know what to do. Like really, I froze for days. I thought it's a movie and I'll just wake up one day and everything would be back to normal. But you have to face certain things, and you want answers. I really wanted answers, and when you go to the doctor, all they say is, they don't have a short answer to give you because cancer is a multifactorial thing. They say maybe it's your immune system, maybe stress, maybe something. But what is my immune system? I didn't even know what is immune system or immunity that time.
Yeah.
And upon figuring out, then you go to the Google, you start on Googling, and you start to understand.
Ask
I wish there
questions.
were,
Yeah.
yeah, I wish there were more podcasts like these days. Those days, I'm talking about 2016.
Yep.
So, fortunately for me, I understood that, oh my God, cancer is just not it just doesn't appear all of a sudden. It takes years, even decades.
Sure. Yep.
And it's our immune system which is responsible to kill the cancer cells. We produce cancer cells every day. So the question was, what was I doing for this 20, 10, 20 years? Why couldn't my immune system fight those cancer cells? I was young and I was robust. Why wasn't my body capable?
So it's a regulating system, isn't it? It's the body's always in the process of trying to find that balance. And if something's out of balance, something kicks into, in your case, it should have worked to get rid of the cancer cells. They call that apoptosis,
Yeah.
which is when, a corrupted cell needs to die and be replaced by a brand new cell. And that's happening in the body all the time. That's when it's going well, right? So your question was, why wasn't it going well in my body?
Yeah.
And
Why
how
was
did you
that?
discover, what was going on?
Yeah, so I had to backtrace my steps and really understand what was I doing wrong. And there, your body is so intelligent. It always gives you these signs and symptoms all the
If you
way.
know
You are
how to
not,
read them.
we don't know exactly. We don't know how to rate them, and we don't know how to really decipher because doctors don't tell you. So from childhood, I had digestive problems. I had gut issues. I
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, and I got my puberty at the age of 10.
That's
I got
early.
my
Yep.
period. It's very early. I had hormonal issues. I had PCOD,
Uh-huh.
and
Is that like
I
PCOS? A
it's
polycystic
a
ovary
little
syndrome?
different, yeah, more or less in the same family, but that's a syndrome, and dysfunction. It's a little more. PCOS can be reversed. PCOD sometimes remains in the backstage, and it can
It's
appear
a
again.
variation, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
And it's
variation.
also linked to genetics.
It is.
Yep.
It is. Uh, and I had severe issues with my skin, like rosacea.
Yep.
Face was completely red and pimples all across. I
Well, that's
suffered with
inflammation, isn't it?
that's
That's the
inflammation.
immune system.
Exactly. But when you go to the doctors, what they do? They didn't even check my hormone levels, anything, and they give you a pill, a birth control pill. So I was on birth control pills for a long time to keep my estrogen levels down. And well, it disrupted my system. And when I stopped it, it was fine for some time, but again,
Then
it used
then
to
you get
come back.
side effects.
You get side effects, no sleep and lethargy, etc. So then, and I was dairy intolerant also, but coming from a vegetarian family, that's what we think is that's the only source of protein. You have to drink it, you have to have couple of sources in the day. So
Well,
I was not
well,
really,
dairy
yeah,
is a big source of protein and calcium and lots of nutrition. So traditionally, especially with a cultural background from India, the dairy is very big. It's huge
very
in
huge. It's huge.
importance. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But not everybody can ingest it. So I was intolerant. I remember I used to take injections when I was young because I used to throw up, but then I got used to it. But of course, it disrupted my hormones and all of these things. So my body was giving me signs and symptoms. I was also deficient in vitamin D for a long time, and the doctors couldn't correlate. Or when I figured out later on, I thought, oh my God, I was vitamin D deficient and all those things.
Which is really important for the immune system to function. Vitamin D triggers a lot of enzyme reactions that talk to the cells and the DNA. And so that's the regulating system of how to turn the immune system on and off. We need sufficient vitamin D for that whole process.
Yeah, so true. I mean, imagine coming from a country where the sun is so abundant, 9 months a year. I was not even going out and connecting myself with nature, living a city life, a stressed life, only
On
focusing
the
on work.
treadmill.
Yeah, on the treadmill. Yeah, on the treadmill. Exactly. So, I was so amazed and shocked by all these things. And why was I not told to correlate these symptoms and signs before? I was very angry. I was extremely angry.
Yeah.
myself, on the whole system,
So
and when
not
you go to
not being tuned into your own body and understanding when it's trying to talk to you and tell you something's wrong. I always think
yeah,
of cells like little babies. And when there's a problem or we get pain or lethargy or fatigue or, we just don't feel right, that's a symptom we need to listen to fix whatever the problem is. That baby's crying. Is it hungry? Does it need sleep? Ask the questions, right?
absolutely, absolutely. And we're not taught these basic things. So I was then, it's like, okay, now you have to take responsibility of your own health in your own hands. When you go to the doctor, they don't tell you. I mean, unfortunately, the oncologist will never tell you what to eat. They will tell you, you eat whatever you want. You need to keep that healthy weight, etc., etc. So whatever you feel like, you eat. But I was not satisfied with that answer. I said, oh my God, there must be a reason why my body is not functioning well, as you said, can
None
be
of it makes
inflammation.
sense, does it? Because our whole body is biochemistry. So the fuel and the substances we put in there has an effect. Environment has an effect. It influences your gut microbiome. There's the gut-brain connection, your mental health.
Yeah,
Everything is influenced by environment and what we put in there. So how can you just rely on medications and then go and eat whatever you want? That's like smoking a pack of cigarettes and taking a vitamin C tablet and thinking now you don't have any effects from the cigarette smoking,
yeah,
which is really insane, isn't it?
insane. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I didn't, fortunately for me, I didn't listen to the doctor. And I straight away went to a coach and I started learning things from them and started going to holistic practitioners. I started going to integrative doctors and I got a lot of knowledge and I started implementing. The first thing was regulating my nervous system. I was very anxious as a person, always sweating. I had sweaty feet, sweaty
Yeah.
palms.
So that shows a lot of adrenaline coming into the system and overstimulating you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I first had to regulate that. And I did this with the help of breath work and, doing yoga
Yeah.
and really just knowing
Calming the
how,
nervous system. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
They're so
it,
those practices are fantastic
yeah,
tool. It's a great tool. Yeah.
it's a great tool. Just slowing down for a moment,
Yeah.
we're always in this flight and fight
And
mode
breathe.
and breathe. Exactly. Just
Breathe
breathe
through
and
the diaphragm.
just letting go of things you can't control, right?
And what does
Not
that do
everything.
to the vagus nerve?
Yeah,
When you breathe properly, you're exercising and massaging that vagus nerve, which runs, it's the biggest nerve in the body, through
yeah,
the whole digestive system from north to south.
absolutely. Yeah,
So when you're breathing, you're energizing that system and helping it to function better. Because you did mention that you had digestive problems when you were younger. And
yeah,
so that would have been a great tool for you to help manage that digestive system, just learning how to breathe
yeah. Yeah, I was
properly. Yeah.
breathing incorrectly, because most of the time I was breathing through my mouth. And yoga, we tell people to breathe through nose as well.
Hmm.
And I was also, when you inhale, you're supposed to bloat up, like take your stomach should bloat up. I was
Yes.
doing the opposite thing.
Mm.
And I've seen so many people now as being into yoga and taking in-person classes. I see so many people not breathing correctly as well. So that's the one thing which
Yeah.
everybody should learn how to breathe, going back
Yep.
to you see a baby, how they breathe through diaphragm, as you were saying.
Yeah.
It
Through
makes the health
their
of the system.
belly expands and that
Yeah.
expansion and contraction is exercising that vagus nerve.
Yeah, exactly. And the second thing which I did was nutrition, adding real good nutrition.
Yeah.
All I was, my previous choices were carb rich, processed foods, sugary foods.
Yeah.
All of these are inflammation causing. And one
Yeah.
of the root causes of cancer, we know that it's inflammation, right?
Yes. And the sugar fuels it more.
Yeah.
Sugar, because sugar metabolism ends up producing a lot of acidic byproducts. So it makes it difficult for the body to maintain its proper pH in the cells.
Yep.
And that's when the opportunistic organisms, because cancer is always related to bacteria and viruses, they come in and take advantage of that lower pH. And
Yeah, and
then
the
the
pH.
corruption starts.
Yeah, and you need to have this. We should also understand that cancer loves anaerobic environment. That means
Yep.
it can survive in less oxygen environment,
Yes, so
and
lower pH means less
low
oxygen.
H.
Yep.
So it's a circle, like low pH, then it produces more lactic acid, and then
Yep.
it produces an acidic environment. Again, very thriving for cancer
The
cells.
downward
It loves the
spiral.
fermentation. The fuel of it is for the glucose, the fermentation of glucose. So it's the whole chain which we need to break. And the first thing which you need to do, break it with the kind of fuel you're putting, the nutrients you're putting,
Yep.
because either it can fuel the cancer, or it can kill the cancer.
You've got to starve out those bad bugs.
Exactly. And one of the things is using good, whole food and whole food diet. I completely switched to a whole food plant-based diet, and
You get the
I
full
gave up
spectrum
sugar.
of nutrients, yeah, because
Full
one balances
spectrum.
another out. You get a synergy happening, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. And not only that, it changes the biochemistry in your mind. I noticed that I am less anxious and I'm more conscious as a
Yeah,
person. They say you become what you eat, and I really experienced it by
because you get a
just by
higher
food.
level of amino acids, you get more zinc and magnesium, like really good minerals for the brain to function.
Yep,
And because the immune system is also given a boost with that kind of diet, it has less load and as with acidic byproducts. I mean,
yeah,
there's always some with metabolism, but if you compare it with carbohydrate metabolism, you get more bang for your buck with a higher level of protein and fat, good fat.
right.
It's like that slow burning log. You get a lot of energy coming out of it over a longer period of time, whereas
Mm-hmm.
the straw fire is quick and fast and then it's over. So you have to you feel like you have to keep eating if you're basically more carbs oriented.
Yeah,
You have to eat a lot of volume to try and get the same level of energy
absolutely.
produced. And then you've
Absolutely.
got all the wastes to worry about.
Yeah,
Which,
yeah,
if your digestive system's a bit slower or more sluggish, they get kind of stuck and start to ferment, as you mentioned before. And that then causes more acids and more bad bacteria moving in because they're always opportunistic. Yay, great, this is more lunch for us. Then they
yeah.
produce terrible gases, and you can get pain and reflux and all sorts of further digestive issues. It's all
Right.
connected.
Absolutely all connected. And when you go through chemo, or when you go with conventional therapies, so understanding that the cancer, chemo will kill the cancer cells, but it also kills our good cells. Plus,
Yeah.
the microbiome gets affected a lot, because that's the fastest growing cell there. So most of our good bugs get killed out, and our digestive system becomes slower
Yeah, and
that time.
more sterile. And did you know also that those therapies, the chemo and the radiation, will also cause you to excrete excessive magnesium,
Mm-hmm.
which is the master mineral. It's the one we need for the mitochondria to be able to make our electrical energy. The ATP, the adenosine triphosphate,
Yes.
relies on magnesium. It is the master mineral in that process, that electrolyte process. And
Yeah.
if you lose it, so you have less energy, you get lethargic, you difficult to sleep, and then more adrenaline starts to be released because the body, in a sense, panics when
Yeah.
things aren't working well. You get out of balance, you start to get alarm bells ringing. That feeling of anxiety is the body trying to talk to you, saying, hey, things aren't right in here. Do
Right.
something.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why we give our clients and the magnesium supplement, because it just depletes. And you have not only that, but sort of a lot of people start having these neuro problems and
Yeah.
stinging feet, and it's
Peripheral.
sensations in
Yeah.
your fingers and stuff.
Yeah.
And which
cramps, twitches,
unfortunately, yeah,
restless legs.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and also heart arrhythmias. That was my problem, which led me into magnesium many years ago. And I solved it with transdermal magnesium because coming back to the digestive issues, which I had as well, I couldn't digest the tablets and powders. But we found a way
Oh,
to absorb magnesium transdermally by producing magnesium creams, lotions,
yeah,
sprays. So
crazy.
the skin is very capable of absorbing magnesium chloride salt when it's dissolved, and in particular when it's packaged with good fats, because the skin
Mm-hmm.
is lipophilic. So, so it's very easy to get sufficient magnesium, much more than if you were to take oral tablets and supplements, which are difficult to digest and absorb. Most actually is excreted. Very little
Yeah.
gets across the bowel wall to the interior. And that's often why people say to me, well, I take the supplements, but I still get cramps. And I said, well, this is why, you're not digesting it properly.
Yeah, lot of people, that's what I also have come to a conclusion that most of the people do not even, they take hundreds of supplements, but they are not ingesting because their body is not capable of absorbing. There are
Yeah.
already so much of toxicities in your body.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
we
so
always,
yes, such a big load already. If it's not able to detox and excrete properly, you just keep piling up on the mess.
yeah, that's so true. And lot of issues with cancer happens because of the toxicity, the heavy metal toxicity.
Yeah.
Lot of the doctors don't make you do the heavy metal panel. We like to do a heavy metal panel, especially after chemo. There is a lot of
Yeah.
these, you
Well,
know,
we can absorb heavy metals from just breathing in smog in the
yeah,
city, from exhaust fumes or whatever, dust. It's
yeah, yeah,
it's in the environment. And if your body's working well, it can sweep out and detox and clean you up. So just two main factors in good health. One is your housekeeping and cleaning internally, biologically, and the other is adding good nutrients in the right balance. And those two
right,
things need to work together and be regulated for all systems to function, from immune system to brain to all the organs, cardiovascular, the whole shebang. Has to
yeah.
have these two sides of health working together. And so with cancer, those systems break down, and it's really a pollution problem, isn't it, that starts to pile up in the
Oh
cells.
yes. Oh yes, absolutely. The toxicity, not only that, but even emotional toxicity, right?
Yep.
The stubborn emotions which you are dealing with. I dealt with a lot of suppressed emotions, and it was very hard for me to accept it and let it go.
Yep.
Sometimes
Because
like
that
that
produces stress. And
produced,
every time you feel bad, you feel stressed, you feel anxious, that's producing chemicals, and they get stored. They're chemical toxins that are stored in the cells. And so if
yeah,
we can learn to get rid of whatever it is, if we can control that emotional self and keep it in balance and keep it feeling good all the time or most of the time. I mean, obviously, we're human, and sometimes, excuse me, shit happens. We have to learn to be flexible and get over it and move on. And that's another tool, another thing that we need to learn to do that we're not taught at school.
we are
Um,
not. Yeah,
no, is how to manage our emotions better so that they don't keep us stuck in that revolving door, which keeps churning out very toxic, acidic chemicals, which destroy
yeah,
cells.
absolutely. I mean, that's one thing which the we are not really not lot is spoken about the connection between stress and cancer, and so many studies are going through, and it is a breeding ground again for inflammation. The more stressed you are, the more in flight and fight mode you are, the
Yeah,
more inflammatory conditions happen in your body, and you don't even realize, like, people feel, I used to feel, oh, stress is normal, everybody goes through stress, but everybody's coping mechanism is also different. Some people would cope up, some people won't be able to cope up. So we are not taught to really understand, it's all about making connection with yourself, with your mind,
yeah.
body, soul. which we have to find out, unfortunately, not being taught or not even giving this primary education about it,
Yeah,
which I feel
how to
now
learn
people
how
are.
to tap in and tune in with your body and what's happening with it. Um, some people are afraid to go there. They're focused outward all the time, looking for the outside to give them all the answers when the answers are really on the inside, right?
Right. Yeah, the I think the whole point is being more aware. Like the more aware you are
Yeah.
about what's happening, the more you will be able to relate to yourself, and the questions will start to unfold. It's all about awareness. Not even going first. First step is awareness. Not even going to the crux of it. The answer sometimes will come immediately or might come in some time. But just being aware, okay, I'm going through this XYZ situation, and just sit for there. People can't even sit still. They will
Yes.
either fidget with their phones or they'll start fidgeting.
Yep.
They can't even, just if you tell someone to close their eyes for 5 minutes, it's very difficult for them to do.
Yeah, and I think the technology and the social media, the screens that they're training them to constantly receive from the outside. So it's the opposite to what we need to do. So in order to learn, I recommend these techniques to anyone, meditation, yoga, Tai Chi. There are lots of different versions of learning how to tune in to your inner self and understand what's going on and listen and be able to cater for your body's needs better. I highly recommend doing something that helps you do that because looking always to the outside, and then you have to switch your screens off to be able to do that, right? You can't have that outside stimulation. I remember when I did the Vipassana meditation course many years ago, we weren't allowed to have no any radios, mobile phones,
Yeah,
no electronic equipment, uh, no noise. We had to be in silence because how else can you detach really to be able to listen to that quiet voice from the inside unless you completely detach from that outside electronic world and all the noise and the disruption? It really gets us off track and creates a lot of imbalance mentally, emotionally, physically, on all levels.
right. No, it's a must. I think we should have no phone zones. We
Yeah,
should have, like, okay, one day I'll not connect with technology. Let me connect with nature instead. Go out and walk and
yes,
just connect with
with bare feet.
ground. Yeah,
Yeah,
grounding is so important, right? We need to
feel
ground ourselves.
Feel the sun, breathe in the fresh air, experience nature, let it recalibrate, reset your cellular
Yeah,
system. So the more we immerse in nature, the more we can throw off that positive charge from the machines and get back to our natural rhythms, and good health.
absolutely. Yeah, because see, we were born in nature. We were not meant to be in these brick and mortar houses. Our ancestors were in caves
On
and
a machine and a treadmill.
outside. Yeah, now we are like inside our houses, and you immediately feel relief when you just hear the sound of water or birds
Yep.
chirping. There's
Yeah.
something inside which feels so relaxing and
Yeah.
soothing. Whole nervous system gets calmed down.
Calmed, yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. And so we need to move away from battery farmed humans in those little boxes, um,
Yeah.
because it's so unnatural and it makes people sick and they age faster. It's really not the way to go. So as you said, awareness is the key. And if you can let people know where they can find you and read about what you do, because it is about sharing good information to become more aware on everyone's individual journey. So, where can they find you?
Yes. So my website is called www.awanahealth.com, awanahelth.com. They can find me on internet. Of course, I have to be on social media. I can't go away with it. So
Yeah.
Shruti underscore Sethi underscore, and I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. A lot of other platforms.
So everything is about balance, isn't it? It's about learning that self-discipline and knowing when enough is enough, in that balance. So we go out and we challenge the body with exercise and working hard, but then we have to come back and relax and recover. We have to detach and we have to recoup that energy. Detox, replace the good nutrition, rest, sleep well, and then we can
Yeah,
go out and face the world again stronger. So it's that ebb and flow, natural ebb and flow. It's not completely disconnecting from everything, but it's
right,
trying to
right.
find the balance that fits your individual needs. And so
Absolutely.
sometimes we need coaching and help from others that have walked this path before.
Oh, I completely believe in this because I was helped by so many coaches my way. And, when you go with an experienced coach who have walked their path themselves, it becomes a bit easier, because you could relate to them. And I sometimes feel I'm so grateful that I've gone through cancer. Now I'm helping a lot of cancer patients. There was a reason behind it, going through chemo and just coming into holistic health. And now I can educate and coach people because I walk the path
Yeah.
and I know what it takes. And I know it is not that difficult. Every day is different day. When you hit with cancer, every day is a different day.
Yeah, but you learn to
So
take responsibility. That's the important thing. If it has to
yeah,
be, it's up to me kind of thinking. You
yeah, yeah.
realize that you're it.
I completely
Yeah,
agree that cancer is 90% your mental game. If
yeah.
you
Hmm.
think you want to live and you really want to live with whole your heart and soul, you will find ways, no matter what. It's that really willpower which we say. And I've seen people coming from fourth stage cancer, giving so many years, like death, like 2, 3 years or 2 months, and they are still living and thriving.
Yeah.
So that's
So
something
never
which,
give up hope. There's always a
yeah,
way.
I never, never give up. There is always miracles happen every day, every second is a miracle
Well,
for
thank you
sure.
for sharing your miracle with us. I really appreciate
Thank
it. I'm sure a lot of people will get heaps out of it.
Yeah, and I would also want to share that I've written my book on cancer, The Healing Power Within, and anybody wants to read about it, it's available on Amazon.
Yeah.
Uh, and it will help a lot of people who are going through cancer
Yeah.
because I've shared a lot of wisdom, knowledge, and also a lot of research behind why you should be changing your lifestyle.
The healing power within. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Shruti. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. It was amazing. Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye. I hope you liked this conversation and will share it with others. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. If you want to listen to other Body Charge conversations, click like, subscribe, the bell icon, and click all notifications. Subscribe to our newsletter to get updates on blogs, podcasts, videos, and magnesium special offers at electramagnesium.com.au. Relax, recharge, and recover.